Hi, welcome to LearnToCook.com. I'm Chef Mark, culinary mentor and professor of culinary arts. Welcome to our program. We're very excited that you're here today. It'll be very rewarding for you as you go to make your Thanksgiving turkey. And we want you to know that we're here to help you, to help share with you great food. Each week we'll do a new series. Before we get started, I just want to tell you about what's coming up in 2 weeks. We have November 29th, gingerbread cookies and sugar cookies, and I think we'll even be making a gingerbread house at that point. So keep that on your radar. For every Thursday will be future live webcasts at 11:30 Central Standard Time. I'm Chef Mark. I figure that I'm a turkey hobbyist. I've been preparing turkey the Learn to Cook way for many years, though I didn't realize it was the Learn to Cook way until I did it. But it's a little different than what you've seen as a home enthusiast, a hobby chef. I hate to say amateur chef because there are great gourmet chefs that cook better than I do. But you're here today to join in for us to decide how to make a turkey moist and tender, beautiful, something the family will enjoy to eat. Not something that they say, well, I want the dark meat. The white meat's always so dry, and you pass on more of the gravy, and then people cut up the white meat, kind of buried in the mashed potatoes. It's so dried out, tastes like particle board. So we avoid that by doing a few things, and it's kind of revolutionary in the fact that, yes, everyone can tell you how to cook a turkey, but we disjoint the turkey and cook it separately, realizing that there is light and dark meat. And that's the big difference, and that's a method that a lot of savvy cooks have been using for many years. Now, while it doesn't look like a Norman Rockwell picture, someone once said, what do you want, atmosphere or taste? I prefer the taste. So while it's in sections, boy, is that dark meat moist and tender at 165 degrees Fahrenheit, the internal temperature. When we take it out, we can roast this turkey at a higher temperature since it's broken into its component parts. The white meat's tender, the dark meat's tender. Everyone eats the turkey, they really enjoy it. Figure 1.5 pounds per person, raw turkey, when you buy it at the store. And feel free to ask questions while we're here. This is the purpose of this, to share with you one-on-one our great method of cooking turkey. And we like questions because we feel lonely by ourselves up here cooking. So cooking can be a solo act, but certainly with Thanksgiving, it's a family and a friend activity. So chat with us, ask questions, any related to turkey, we're happy to help you. So if there aren't any questions already, let's see what we have today. We have a turkey that we purchased in the store, a fresh turkey. Now you can buy a frozen one, you can buy a fresh one. If you buy a frozen one, you can. It'll take probably 2 days to defrost a 12-pound turkey in the refrigerator. If you get a 20-pound or higher, usually 4 to 5 days. And don't do what that fellow did some years back when he called the Butterball hotline and said, oh, my turkey's been in my trunk for 3 days. Is it defrosted? Well, it probably is defrosted, probably inedible. I don't even think the dog would want to eat it. So there's enough fresh turkeys, or not frozen, turkeys out there for you to buy. So if you want, pick the fresh one. If you want the frozen one, that's fine. If you go to defrost it, and it's an emergency, you always defrost it in your microwave, right? It weighs 12 pounds, you're going to put defrost, cycled poultry, put it in 12 pounds, and maybe an hour or so later, it'll be defrosted. But then you'll need to cook it right away. You can't let it sit around because the magnetron and all the molecules have agitated, and steam has been created to defrost it, so you want to cook it right away. Now, a few things I want to talk about before we actually prepare this turkey for you and show you what to do. You have a baster. I've seen that. I don't use them. I just throw them away because every time you open the oven door, you're going to lose about 40% of your heat. And then more air will go inside, and the air will condense into steam, and it'll take the turkey longer to cook. We don't open the door, except for at the very end to put a little more butter on top for color. By that opening of the door and basting all that grease on the top and water, not going to make the skin crispy. It'll make it discolored. You want it nice and brown. You want that beautiful color as you see here from high temperature roasting with melted butter. So what can I tell you about the turkey? A lot of turkeys come with 3% sodium added. So I rather buy the turkey that doesn't have sodium added, 3% of the weight is of water. If you buy, any turkey is going to give you a 20% loss. So if you have a 18-pound turkey, figure you're going to lose about 20% in the cooking. And you'll have probably about a 14-pound turkey. So keep that in mind when you buy a turkey for your family. If you have a large group of people, maybe it's better to have 2 smaller turkeys than 1 giant cannonball. Because think about, you have a 25 or 30-pound turkey. And this comes into our concept of disjointing the turkey. Oh, you say, oh, I love to put the stuffing in my turkey. So you have this 30-pound bowling ball. That's going to take a long time to cook, right? So first of all, we say no stuffing, put it separate, cook it separately. We say never stuff the poultry, the bird itself, so that it'll cook sooner. So I defrosted. This turkey was fresh. It was a little frosty because it was in the store. So in my sink, cold water. If you want to defrost your turkey in the sink, you can do so, but the temperature should not exceed 70 degrees. So at any time you're running cold water, change the water frequently. You want to keep water under 70 degrees running all the time because you don't want to have bacteria build up. And then when the turkey defrosts, then you want to cook it right away. So once we've done that, we patted dry the turkey. I washed the turkey inside out cool water. I made sure I sanitized my sink with full strength vinegar, sanitized my sink, my cutting board. I like to have a sanitizing spray nearby because you have salmonella. The world is going to come to an end if you have to use bleach. 1% of turkeys have salmonella, so this is like this terrible contagion will happen in your kitchen. But you want to be mindful that there can be salmonella on poultry, so I have a 100% vinegar solution. And many times I'll dilute that with half water for vegetables and the regular counter. But today with my turkey in my sink, once I've cleaned out the sink and sanitized the sink, and those sponges I put in vinegar water, and that cutting board and the tray I put in vinegar water, a little bit of good water to kill any bacteria. I have this spray for surface cleaning. I like to use paper towels as well, since the paper towels won't contaminate my laundry because I have all these towels to do after, right? So I wash my turkey inside and out. I have it on the counter. It's set here a few minutes, so some water may drip out. If there are any questions on that, just let me know what I've just said. I'd be happy to repeat that for you. So I have some water. It's defrosted. This is what we have inside. We have the neck. That's great for turkey stock, right? For our giblet gravy. So I'm going to keep that, chop it into pieces. Most flavorful because the turkey uses the meat. The turkey uses its neck to, well, not much else is in there. There might be some other pieces. I take those out. Also, don't forget, you have to take out the giblets. They're packed here in the neck. Many times you'll go to someone's house and they go, oh, I forgot to take that out. Well, you want to take that out because what's in this giblet bag? The liver, right? So that's unpleasant to have that in your roasted turkey. I'll cook this separately and also put that in for my giblet gravy. I won't put it into the stock, but I'll cook it separately and chop it up as part of my giblet gravy. When I make the turkey stock, I also take the meat off the turkey neck because that gives great flavor for your giblet gravy. The heart as well, that's the giblets right there. We cook those, we chop those up. We have the turkey heart in there as well. We're going to cook that as well. You have the makings of a turkey stock, and then these ingredients you chop up for giblet gravy. So my hand's a little turkey-fied, so I'm going to put it in my sanitizing water. There. So I took out that giblet bag. Oh, and you know what? You can actually stuff the crop of the neck, C-R-O-P, if you want to, stuff the crop of the neck. A lot of people can do that. Successful people say, well, I got to have this, my stuffing have their turkey flavor. Well, use some of the turkey stock and cut off some of the back fat to put on your casserole of stuffing. I'll show you that as well. So I took out the giblet bag. I can stuff this area if I want to, the crop of the neck. What else do we have? We have this red dot on my turkey. Anyone know what that is for? Of course you do. That's supposed to pop out at some point, you hope, while the turkey's in the oven. And sometimes they don't pop out. And what will happen then is Well, the turkey's very dry, and it happens to a relative of mine. She said it never came out. And I went to dinner, and the turkey had breasted caged, and it cleaved away from the breastbone. And we looked at this turkey. It looks like it went through the desert for 3 days. So, well, it never popped out. I said, well, maybe because sometimes those are defective, and quite frankly, I don't use them. I just take them out and discard it. So, what else do we have in here? Well, we have this little plastic cage in here that keeps the thighs together. We are not going to roast the turkey so it's like a cannonball. We're going to roast the turkey separately in separate parts. So we're going to take this plastic section out. It keeps the tail and the legs together. The idea is we want heat to circulate. We want a higher oven heat at 375 degrees. That's how we roast this turkey. Not at 325 for 6 hours, right? You know, people have to get up early, Thanksgiving Day, the grandma, grandpa, someone, they're up at 5 a.m., they gotta get the turkey to room temperature, right? So it'll cook faster. Then they have to get the oven on, and you know, they're saying, oh, well, I gotta cook the turkey. It's 20 minutes a pound, right? So we keep that too for the stock. 20 minutes a pound, right? So you got a 30-pound turkey, 20 minutes a pound. We're talking about 6 or more hours. That's crazy. So what I want you to do is cut the turkey into segments. We're going to do that right now, into sections. So it'll roast this 18-pound turkey. The thighs are done in 50 minutes and at 165 degrees internal temperature at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And the breast is done 180 degrees in an hour and 20 minutes. 18-pound turkey. I cooked one this morning just for you. All right, so ask some questions now while we're there. Just don't be afraid. You just type in, give a false name. Doesn't make a difference. Ask us, tell us your experience with turkeys, and I'm going to go ahead and prepare this for roasting. Modern turkey roasting, the learn to cook way. So I don't get up Thanksgiving Day that early. I usually get up around 8:30, because at 9 I watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And at around 10:30, 11, I put the turkey in the oven. It's done by 12:30. What takes a lot of time are the casserole dishes, right? If you have one oven, as many of us do at home, you can't have that turkey tying up the oven for the next 6 hours. So you have to be sure that you time it, and the casserole dishes go in first, and then the turkey goes in last. That's how I manage that, because you're going to have stuffing. You're going to have an herb stuffing, herb and mushroom stuffing perhaps. Though many times I like to make an oyster stuffing. I cut off the wing tips because many times, you'll see them, they'll be burnt and dried, and they'll leave this sort of like this mark along the turkey breast. They're pretty much inedible. So I like to keep the wing tips. I take them off so that I can use them for stock. So I get some more meat for my giblet gravy. So what was I saying there? I was saying something about, the timing. You have a herb and mushroom stuffing. And you'll want to make sure that you do your stuffing first. Make your stock first, that I always do. I make my stock first. And I'm using the weight of this turkey as I bend the arm back, cut through the joints, cut away from myself. So no hacking. So look at that. There's 2 beautiful turkey wings. Those are big buffalo wings, right? These usually get hammered, as they say, in the food business. Cooked beyond recognition, all it is bone and skin. But when you cook it this way, nice and moist, and people can enjoy that. And maybe your dog would like that.
Chef, there's a
Question coming in. How exciting. I want to hear the question.
How many people will that turkey serve?
The question was, how many people will this turkey serve? Well, this is an 18-pound turkey, so I figure a pound to pound and a half per person. It depends if you have a big appetite. But this turkey is so moist, it's probably figure a pound a person. This is about 16 people or so can enjoy a 6-ounce portion, or a pound per person. But you got mashed potatoes, you have green beans, you have cranberry sauce, or you have sweet potatoes, you have butternut squash, you have that green bean dish, with the canned green beans and the cream of mushroom soup and little dried onions on the top. You got to have that. So that's the yield. Figure pound per person. You got 18-pound turkey. You have a 20% loss, so you're down to 14 pounds, right? 20% loss, so it'll serve 14 people.
Another question from Christine. How much weight of the turkey is bone weight?
Well, there's about half of the weight of the turkey. About 45% is bone weight. Oh, sorry, the question was, what percentage of the turkey is bone weight? And it's about 45%. So you get about a 55% yield. You get less when you roast it in the traditional manner. So I'm going to show you now, thanks for those two questions. Great to have them. Now I'm going to show you how to disjoint the chicken. What we want to do is we took the wingtips off. We have the beautiful turkey wings on the tray. They will come out of the oven first, beautifully cooked. We're going to season that. We're now going to remove the first leg. We're going to cut the skin, the flap. See, I cut the flap skin from the thigh, from the breast area. So I cut it with the tip of my knife. So knife should be sharp. So use your steel. Go down both sides of the knife. Of course, you know that. You probably cook at home somewhat. So 20-degree angle. Get that knife nice and sharp. Remember, you've touched turkey, so you have to sanitize your pretty sharp. I'm cutting the flap skin. See that? Just cutting the flap skin. But I'm going to cut back here, below the arm bone. All right? There's some nice gelatin in there. So I'm going to cut some of the skin here. I'm going to bring it to the side of the table, and I'm just going to pop out that hip bone there. Pop out that right out of the socket. You have light and dark meat. These two meats take different times to cook. This is denser. This is closer to the heat. And for many of us to get the turkey breast cooked, we really cook the thigh too long. So I'm proposing you do this. So you follow the leg along, just cut along the back. We popped it out, that was easy, right? With your knife, we followed the conformation of the leg right to the backbone, and we're cutting right along the back. You'll notice there's that, what they call the oyster. That's the two sections on chicken and poultry, which people like. We cut over the joint, and just with the tip of my knife, pulling, that leg comes right off. See that? That was easy to take off. I guess easy for you to say, right? You've done it before. So it's easy to take off. You get that beautiful, moist meat that people really enjoy. Repeat with the other side. So we're cutting the flap. See that? The flap of skin. Try not to cut up too high because it kind of shrinks the breast, but see that? I just cut that skin. And like I did before, bring it along the side of the table. And then I'm putting the turkey carcass on the cutting board. And I'm just snapping that femur bone, I guess it is, right out of the turkey, right out of the socket. The round bone, we call it round bone, right out of the socket. Boning knife, you use a paring knife, works fine. Follow the leg, conformation of the leg, cut along the back. Can you see that okay? And then, and I do this with chicken as well. I just, the tip of my knife over the joint, the ball joint. I pull, cut, pull, cut, pull, cut, pull, cut, pull, cut, push, pull, push, pull. Look at that. Another beautiful turkey thigh. That meat is wonderful, I have to tell you. My favorite part of the turkey, but I also like the white now because the light meat is moist. I like what it used to be, really dry. So I'm going to dry off my hands. When I'm working with a knife, I want to be sure my knife handle is dry. But that's would be dangerous if it's wet. So knife handle dry my hand off, keep that towel out of the way. Now we have this strange looking device here. This is the lower back. We're just cutting the skin, and we dislocated, give them a little chiropractic adjustment. That sounded good. Now this is the lower back. Where is that good for? Good for stock. And people say, well, I miss having my stuffing with a nice turkey flavor. Well, okay, you want the stuff, the turkey flavor? You want some of that nice turkey fat? Well, look at the back. Look at the turkey's back. There's some really nice fat back here. It's a shame to lose all this in the roasting process. So I say take this off, the lower turkey back.
Chef, there's a question.
All that fat. Question coming in. Excellent.
Have you ever sous vide a turkey?
Ever sous vide a turkey? Well, I don't have them. I don't have. Well, I guess you could. You can sous vide these parts, and I have not. Sous vide, of course, means under pressure. It's a process developed probably 20 years back to cook proteins in a low temperature for a long period of time. And the chicken is very, chicken or beef or lamb chops are very tender. No, I have not. I kind of like the caramelization, the roasted color. Though when you do sous vide cooking, you sear off the meat first, like a veal shank or a lamb chop in sous vide cooking. You sear it off, and then you pull on a vacuum. So it's put into a vacuum chamber, air is pulled out, it's seasoned, it's been seared, then it's slowly cooked in a hot water bath, for lack of a better term. So it makes it very tender and easy, great for catering the sous vide process. So hopefully that answers your question. What, did I ever sous vide a turkey? I have not. So look at this turkey fat. It'll be nice. Put on that casserole dish with your stuffing because you want that turkey flavor. Because people miss that, getting that flavor out of the turkey itself, right? Well, added bonus, some more meat here for my turkey stock. I'm a happy camper, right? I'm going to put the turkey fat in with that. So what have I done now? I've cut into a number of sections. So what's cool about this is now we have this cavity that is exposed directly to the heat. We're going to season that. Before I do that, I'm going to tell you about the crop of the neck. People may want to cut the skin somewhat. Maybe I'm in the wrong angle. Cut the skin just a little bit because you're going to want to season and salt the tissue of the meat. Avoid salting poultry skin. Salt tends to pit poultry skin. But you can salt poultry skin. It's not a crime. I like to salt the interior of the poultry itself because it's the tissue and the meat that you want to have the nice salty flavor. It's nice to have crispy, salty skin. People like eating, oh, I love this skin that's salty and crispy. Nothing wrong with that. That's what you like. If you also want to have the meat itself to be savory, you'll need to salt the lean tissue itself. And that's why I'm going to push in my hands down under the skin. So I could salt that. See, I'm going to salt the crop of the neck. I'm also going to chop up, I'm just going to insert some nice fresh sage leaves. So I press those under the skin. If there's too much work, you don't have to do it. Just gives a little added flavor and a nice appearance. You lay them flat in there. You can put a couple more if you like.
So here's a question.
Question coming in. Great.
Can we cut the turkey the day before to get the stock prepared?
Oh, most certainly. You can cut this before, cut this the day before, saran wrap it, plastic wrap it really well, and then you're ready to go. You can watch the Westminster Dog Show after the Macy's Day Parade because your turkey is already all set. Or there's football, of course. So yeah, you can do this the day before. So I put a bunch of salt in the crop of the neck. You can also put some white pepper in there. You can salt the skin too. Now, I may also want to salt inside the cavity. People say, well, chef, you don't have any mirepoix in there. You don't have any aromatics. You don't need that because the meat's going to cook really nice. It's going to be tender and moist. You don't need any additive aromatics or mirepoix to give it flavor. You're going to put your mirepoix in your stock. So now this is a bit wet. So what I want to do now is dry off the skin part because I've salted the lean tissue inside. Put in some sage. Maybe I put my stuffing in here. If you're going to put a stuffing in your turkey, make sure that the stuffing is cooked to 165, right? It's a food safe temperature for eggs, right? I'm going to pat the skin. I can finish my boning knife. I'll just park it to the side here. I always keep my knives facing away from me. I'm going to blot this dry. And I'm going to just give my workstation. I have the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I sanitize my hands because now I'm going to salt the thighs and those beautiful wings. So let's take a look over here. I'm going to just put the salt on the tissue side, put some on the skin as well. I'm going to put some salt. We don't add salt for saltiness sake. We add salt for savoriness. You really need to have salt for proteins to have good flavor, right? Don't salt them the night before. You want to salt them just before, 15 minutes before, because salt can pull the moisture out. Those have been salted very nicely. Since it's wet, it absorbs it too and gives a nice flavor. So that I've done that, I'm going to pat dry the skin because I want to put some melted butter on there because I like that beautiful color. So oven's at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Pat the skin dry. Pat the skin dry again. See, with this, the fat now self-bastes. The fat that's here self-bastes the turkey and travels down, follows gravity. Sits up, it's on its own little carving rack already. You don't have to argue or fight over who's going to get to carve the turkey. You'll all want to carve it because it'll be very easy to carve. I'll show you that in a few minutes. So now that I have that, let's put some melted butter. We've salted the tissue side. We didn't salt the skin. It'll pit though, you can salt it. The problem with salting the skin also, if you put a lot of salt on the skin, it runs down into the pan. When it runs down into your pan, you're not able to have the nice, they call that the fond, the cuisine, the base of the drippings, right? So if it's a lot of salt on your turkey, this will be salty, and then your gravy will be salty. You don't want salty gravy. So we don't salt it. Long story short, we don't salt the outside of poultry, even chicken. Garlic, yes. Spices, yes. Thyme, yes. You bet all of that. So let's brush some melted butter on the thighs in preparation to put in the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to roast these beautiful drumsticks. Will be done, 18-pound turkey. These are usually done in about 45 or 50 minutes. The internal temperature needs to be 165 degrees. The internal temperature, which means you need a thermometer or thermometer probe to probe the thickest part. Don't hit the bone. You want to hit the tissue. We put it at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for the first 15 minutes, and we lower it to 365 or 375. Imagine that. So this really helps the color and makes it look really special. I'm going to use 2 pans because I like to, once I put the butter on my turkey, we're almost ready to put into the oven. Once I put the butter on my turkey, it'll drip onto the pan and burn, so I'm going to switch to another sheet pan. And you can buy those big foil pans. I don't know why you need a big high-sided foil pan unless there's a lot of water coming out of your turkey. This had nominal fat on it because we took the fat back off the back, so you want to brush the butter along the back. Maybe have that stuff so it looks larger. We're going to keep some butter for later on. So now that it's cold, the butter has congealed. So now we're going to transfer that into just another tray. So I'll have a burnt butter on my turkey. So turkey is sitting here, self-basting, beautiful.
There's a question, Jeff.
Question coming in, excellent.
Is butter better than olive oil?
Butter is better because the butter fat browns nicer. You can certainly use olive oil for that, but butter gives a nicer brown hue to it. That olive oil, since it has a higher smoke point, takes longer to brown. So I like to use butter for that. So let me just check my little paint job here, make sure everything is covered nicely. So I switched it from the oily pan that goes to the dishwasher. You have to have a few dishwashers in the house to help. When people say, can I help? Say, yes, you can do dishes after. They kind of like disappear. It's been my experience. So I'm careful who I invite over my house. Maybe that's why I don't have too many guests. They say, we don't want to have to clean up after you, Chef Mark. You cook good, but you make a big mess. So now we have this turkey ready to go into the oven. No rack, there's no rack, it's right on the pan. It heats it directly and going to slide into the oven. 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. Then I'm going to drop it down after 15 minutes to 365, 375. And I'm going to put my timer on because in about 45, 50 minutes, those drumsticks are done at 165 degrees. And then it usually takes another 45 minutes for that 18-pound turkey to be totally cooked. So it's an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes for 18-pound turkey. How could you beat that? So you realize the fallacy of the 20 minutes a pound, right? 25-pound turkey, 20 minutes a pound, 3 pounds an hour. How many hours is that? That's too many hours that I don't want to spend in the kitchen. So now that the turkey is done, it comes on a platter, nice serving platter. You can put a nice sprig, parsley, you can put watercress in there. You put watercress to be edible. Have to have some beautiful sage, it smells wonderful. Maybe just a few less. Then I want to carve my turkey. So another cutting board, handy. Carving knife, question coming in, great. Carving knife.
What is your take on injectables?
So the question is, what is my take on injectables? So a lot of turkeys are injected, and this one has 3% sodium salt solution added for tenderness. So I don't think salt water can make things tender. It can make them moist. So why pay $1.09 a pound for turkey when 3 pounds of it is water? Why pay $1.09 a pound for water? Buy a turkey that is, I guess, not injected, and season it yourself. I like to buy a turkey that has never been frozen, and a lot of farmers in many parts of the world produce turkeys fresh this time of the year. So I like to get the non-feedlot turkey, just for flavor and for quality. Yeah, they sell the injection needle. Some people will buy that gourmet needle. They sell at the stores. You know, put a brine. Some people brine their turkeys. If you're going to brine your turkey, you need to be mindful that you have to have a bucket big enough to fit this turkey in there, and this displacement of water. That's a big bucket. For every gallon of water, I bet with this 14-pound turkey, I might need 2 gallons of water. For every gallon of water, you're going to need 3/4 cup of salt and 3/4 cup of sugar, besides your spices, chili pepper or coriander or star anise. So it's going to be displace a lot of weight, and it's really heavy to carry, and you have to refrigerate it. So I gave up doing that because I had to clear out my other refrigerator in the garage just to fit this massive thing, my brine turkey. I just salted right, and it tastes just as nice. Brining will, of course, by reverse osmosis, absorb the salt. The spices are absorbed in the water. But it's a lot of work, and I don't even know if my guests really know the difference. I just salt it properly, cook it properly. It comes out really nice. So I don't brine my turkey. But it's a great thing to do. You have the time, the energy, and the space, and the bucket.
Chef, here's a good question. Should I say, so 45 minutes for the legs and additional 45 minutes for the breast?
Yes, but one thing to be mindful is that we cook by internal temperature. So depending on your oven, you can have a cold, a warm spot. When the breast is 175 at least to 180, that's done. So when these were 165, I checked after half an hour, they're 145. 165, you want it well done, right? At least 165, then go to 170. If you like your turkey very well done, do 175, but at least 165 to 170 on the thighs, half hour, 40 minutes, so check. It starts to brown, well, a nice brown color starts. After about 35 minutes, check the temperature, take the thermometer, inject it along the thickest part of the thigh, then you press the button. It tells you, of course, it's been sitting here for a while, so it's not 165 degrees. 165 is perfect. It goes up 5 or more degrees, 5 or 10%. So that's a nice, beautiful turkey leg. We're going to carve that up. And then the breast is done. Yeah, that's 45 minutes of the hour or so. It could be an hour and a half, depends on the size of the turkey. A 25-pound turkey will take a little longer. But in all cases, usually the drumsticks are done in under an hour, 50 minutes, even the big turkeys. Another hour or so for the breast. And the breast, when you put the probe in, the thickest part of the breast into the thickest part of the meat, remember your probe thermometer has a sweet spot, so make sure half isn't put into the, when you check the temperature, 175, you're doing fine, 180, you're doing fine. The question was, can you sharpen a serrated knife? Well, you can. The only issue with the serrated knife is eventually those little tips get dull and wear out. But yeah, you can sharpen a serrated knife. I usually give those to a knife sharpener. I don't let a knife sharpener touch my knives. The serrated knives go to the knife sharpener service, and they take it down a little bit. Because the serrated knife has a little indentation where the curves are, and I really can't do that properly on my stone or my steel. So I had to professionally sharpen, or I buy a new serrated knife. But with the carving knife, you can use a small chef. This is a utility knife. Whatever you're comfortable cutting with, you have a nice carving set for Thanksgiving. Dad's all nervous. He's elected to, our granddad has to carve the turkey, so doesn't have to be nervous anymore because all he has to do is, even right on here, he's on this platter, you carve it on a platter, at the table, right, traditional. All he has to do is the sharp knife, just start slicing. Well, that skin, it's crispy. I hear it crunching. Just a beautiful thing. And just slice right down. You can take it off. With a carving board, you bring the turkey out to the table. You have a small carving board, one with little wood with little rivulets for the liquid. And you just cut straight down. You don't have to have any advanced expertise in carving a turkey. You're not doing it table side at a fine restaurant. It just smells just wonderful, and you can just see how there's moisture there. Imagine that. I can't take it. There's moisture in the turkey breast, not dried out like a piece of particle board. Now, that's good turkey, and it has a nice color to it as well. So you can cut it nice and thin. And then people say, oh, I want to have the arm bone. So you just, once you finish carving the breast, right, from the keel bone, and then the keel bone, the breastbone is here. Pick right or left, you're right or left-handed, whatever you like to do. Just carve away as long slices, small slices, thick slices, thin slices. Carve straight down, big slice, small slices. It really smells nice. If I do say so myself, I'm very modest with my culinary abilities. So at some point you can take the arm bone off if you want. Just cut around it. One of my crew would love this. He tried to capture my turkey leg this morning. I'm going to give him the turkey wing. He'll like that. So nice crispy skin, right? Nice giblet gravy. Then the final thing is to carve the leg. Look, you have the beautiful moist turkey wings. Look at that meat in there. It's really nice.
Here's a question, Chef. Is it better to de-breast and slice the breast against the grain?
The question was, is it better to slice the breast against the grain?
Is it better to de-breast than slice the breast?
Oh, all right. You can also take, if you're a little more advanced culinary skills and feel brave enough, you can actually take the breast off. And the question was, can you take the breast off and carve that way? You bet. But I know some people say, well, there's some more advanced skills that my dad or grandpa or grandma might know of. So, but yeah, you can see I'm taking the breast right off the carcass, see? And then I can carve that, as our question was, I can carve that across the grain for beautiful small slices. Great question. So yes, you can, of course, take the breast off itself and carve from right to left, left to right, across the grain.
How long should it rest before carving?
So the question was, how long should this turkey rest before carving? At least 5 minutes per pound. You're going to see when you put it onto a tray, a lot of the liquid starts to, ooze out, come out from the roasting process. So I cover the turkey, let it sit at least 15, 20 minutes because it's larger, and then it'll be ready to carve. So let it rest about 15 minutes, something this size, before you carve it. You can tent it, put a piece of foil on it to tent it, keep it warm, a warming oven. And then lastly, we have the lovely turkey leg. So you can cut it in many ways as you like. You can just go right through and cut it right in half. Then you can start carving that. And that's some beautiful, moist turkey meat. Also, many times I'll carve part of it up and reheat it with a little broth as well. If I'm going to do a steam table, if you're going to have 25 people at your house for Thanksgiving, you can roast it, carve half of it, keep the rest for the folks to carve, shingle them in a small tray, put a little turkey stock if you have, and then keep it warm that way, and then reheat it. So what other questions do we have as we wrap up our session today? It's been great having you with learningtocook.com. We want you to feel comfortable with cooking. This is unique. No one does live cooking demonstrations that we know of, so we want you to participate. Come back every Thursday from now on, except for next Thursday, which is Thanksgiving. And I'd like to get your comments and send us email, of course, participate, chat with us, and feel good about your skills. Feel good about that you can cook and make other people feel happy. That's what it's all about. So we want to say thanks for being here. We were glad to have welcomed you. Hope you'll join us again November 29th for another a great session. That'll be gingerbread cookies and sugar cookies and a small gingerbread house. So wishing you a happy Thanksgiving, happy cooking, and bon appetit. Bye-bye.